So only in the Netherlands already 400,000 lampposts are exactly positioned in the middle of 2 parking spots. The lamppost integrated with the AC charger in it saves up to 58% on emissions on every site in the city. Only 40% of the inhabitants in the Netherlands have their own driveway to charge on their own home. But 60% of people living in the Netherlands are really forced by public charging.
So I'm standing at the stall of CityCharge, where we are going to learn about how to integrate AC charge points into the existing street lamps and how it is a very sustainable solution and the idea of future. So let's discuss with Heimen, who is going to explain all the details and the secrets. So Heimen, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Welcome, definitely.
And I'm really excited to hear about your solution at CityCharge, what you are doing. And I found the solution quite innovative because it's using the street lamps, what are already existing. But I would not dive into the details. You're the expert. I would like to understand from your side. So could you tell us how you came about this solution, about CityCharge, and what is your core mission?
Yeah, that's a good question, and thanks for inviting me. The reason why we came up with this idea was going back six years to one of the municipalities in the Netherlands that was renewing all their lampposts within their city. And the question came up, is it possible to integrate a AC charger within or integrate it into a lamppost? And so they were renewing all the lampposts and we made an agreement with them that we were able to develop and also assemble a mini charger with a double socket, 22 kilowatts, to be integrated in those lampposts. And that's exactly where we started. And now, 5 years later, we implemented more than 25 cities in the Netherlands, and also entering the German market, entering the French market, and also entering the UK market.
Okay, so you're expanding now in Europe, basically throughout Europe at the moment.
Yeah, we are.
That's pretty amazing. And also what you mentioned about the charge post, the double socket and the power. I've only known that the charge posts on the street lamps are not that powerful, but you're mentioning somewhere about 11 or 22 kilowatts?
Yeah, what we deliver is 22 kilowatts in a lamppost. And just to tell, I mean, we do renew the underground infrastructure because a regular public lighting infrastructure is not sufficient to charge cars. They did a lot of testing in the Netherlands, but usually a lamppost only has a 6 ampere grid connection, which is nice to put public lighting, but not suitable for EV charging. So we do renew the underground infrastructure, but you need to do that anyhow if you would like to position a regular charging pole.
Oh, amazing. Could you now dive a bit deeper how it works basically? Is it a retrofit mechanism that you're doing on this existing infrastructure? Could you explain what is being done from the pole to the groundworks and what happens with the post basically, or the lamp that was existing?
What we do in the Netherlands, after a lot of research of doing retrofitting or placing a new pole, all the projects that we do in the Netherlands is 50% is new and 50% is, let's say, existing neighborhoods.
Okay.
But in every case, we saw that placing a new pole with a double service window, the lower service window is used by the grid operator to bring in the connection, and the upper service window is used for integrating the charger really into the lamppost at a certain height, which is suitable for EV charging.
Exactly.
The old lampposts that are taking out on the spot are being reused in the city, there where there has been some damage or whatsoever. So there's a lot of circulation of lampposts going on in a city anyhow. So the only thing is the lampposts that we do replace are being reused in another part of the city, which is a very suitable solution.
It's sustainable as well. You do not need new charge poles, not the charge poles, you do not need new street lamps. The existing one could be used in another location. And you can retrofit and upgrade the existing one, which was there.
But the biggest advantage is not placing 2 objects in the street, a lamppost and next to it a separate charging pole. But because of the integration of 2 objects in one, the lamppost integrated with the AC charger in it, saves up to 58% on emissions on every site in the city. which is really favorable for a city which signed the climate treaty. And this is really benefiting all the climate goals of the cities in the Netherlands.
Perfect. So that's a really amazing number. I would just like to understand. So 58% you're including like the person, if they have to install a new charge post, they might have to do the digging works and installation works, bring in new cables. And in your solution, you replace that part completely.
There are three parts in which the advantages are included. It is the production part, because the charger is so small to fit into the lamppost, and it doesn't need a separate pole next to it to integrate the charger.
Indeed.
We integrated it in the lamppost, so that's one. So it's less production, it's less transport to the city, and it's also less maintenance and service, because the installation company and the service and maintenance company is usually the same of the company that's already doing the public lighting.
Okay.
So what they have a spare unit of the CityCharge unit in their truck, and as they do their round in the city to do some fixing on the public lighting, they also can change a charging point if needed.
That's great. That's great. And talking about future, so I think your solution is quite well placed. So I live in Germany, and one of the things what I've seen, a lot of people, or actually half of the population in Germany lives in apartment buildings. And when it comes to apartment buildings in Germany, we are not that advanced as Netherlands or Nordics. We do not have smart meters all the way. So we do not have a lot of places to install wall boxes. So what I was doing when I had the EV, I was only charging 95% of the time on a DC public chargers that were existing outside. Yeah. So I did not have the luxury to charge at home. But there were a lot of parking places nearby which had street lamps. And this is the use case I'm thinking. Those could be retrofitted with your solutions, and already existing parking space could be utilized with the street lamps. What do you think about that? Right?
Now, I think you're fully right. In the Netherlands, we do have the same problem. Only 40% of the inhabitants in the Netherlands have their own driveway to charge on their own home. But 60% of people living in the Netherlands are really forced by public charging, whether it's AC charging or whether it's DC charging. So the reason why we implement these kind of solutions is, after also extensive research, that 15% of all parking lots in the Netherlands, so above ground parking, so public parking lots, are positioned exactly in between a lamppost. Oh. So you have a lamppost and there are two parking spots. So the positioning of the lamppost is ideal to service two parkings and for two EV cars.
Exactly.
So a lot of municipalities think that the lampposts are not well positioned in the streetscape to combine with EV charging, but in reality that's not the case. There are many parking spots that are really suitable. So only in the Netherlands already 400,000 lampposts are exactly positioned in the middle of two parking spots.
Wow, so that means if you're considering your solution, it has two charge points. So basically
800,000 parking lots can be provisioned with a lamppost charging solution.
Wow, that's an amazing number.
Yeah.
So in the future, we are going to discuss about vehicle to grid as well. So what do you think about it? And are you also working towards this scenario?
Yes, we are. Actually, we're working right now on a version 3 of our charger, which will include a couple of new functionalities. For example, vehicle to grid. So that's one of them. But also a payment terminal included in the AC charger. So you can not only pay with your RFID charging pass or card, but you can also pay with a credit card, a debit card, or a regular bank card.
Okay,
which makes it also a lot easier for people, and especially private people that drive an electric car, to pay with a bank card, as they do in public transport, for example.
Yeah, for the gas stations or anywhere. This is the most
commonly
paid method that we know of is a credit card.
Yeah.
And that's really great development. So it's more like you're doing a FIR, what was for DC chargers already on the AC side of things.
Yeah.
And you're integrating a payment terminal with it. I mean, this would make the life so much easier for a person who does not have a lot of cards in his pocket, who does not have a lot of charging apps.
Yeah.
Easiest method of payment.
Yeah.
That's great. And last question will be in the direction about how do you balance the energy? How can you balance the load as well in terms of peaks?
Yeah, that's also a good question. We do two things on the subject of load balancing. Of course, the charger itself is implemented with load balancing between the two sockets. But how we implement it, usually in the Netherlands, is that we implement a charging street. So it's not a charging plaza, a word that a lot of people use, but it's a charging street. Because we use on one single grid connection, we connect multiple lampposts. Up to 7 lampposts in the Netherlands we do, so which means 14 charging points. And we do the load balancing over all the 7 lampposts also in a row. So when there are only 5 cars positioned and charging, we divide it by 5. And when there are 14 cars parked, we divide it by 14, which is a lot more efficient.
Indeed, but is it being done dynamically based on the grid requirements? So if the grid allows less energy and because there is peak time, so then you're balancing the available energy across all the posts?
Right now, we have a guarantee availability, for example, 3 times 50 ampere, for example, so we can connect 5 lampposts, so we do it that way. But we're also working on a model that we can also, let's say, diminish the speed of charging, or we can accelerate the speed of charging. But that's also something that's coming in the next version of our CityCharge product.
Amazing. How many charge points are already existing at the moment?
Yeah, up till now, we implemented in the Netherlands 25 cities, and we implemented more than 300 CityCharge lampposts. But by the end of this year, we will be working up to somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 lampposts being implemented, because we're really speeding up right now, and especially also with the demand from different countries around the Netherlands. The volume is going up, which is good for the public space, and which is also good for the climate.
Of course. Thank you so much, Heimen. It was really nice talking to you.
Well, welcome.
I really enjoyed talking to you, and also learned a lot about how we can retrofit the charge points in the existing street lamps, and the 800,000 number that I learned. That was amazing. That's such a great insight to have.
Super.
But I wish you a lot of success.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.